Let's zoom into the shoulder area. I'm going to grab this edge right along the base of the shoulder, both of them and the back one too, and push those in. It's a little too far protruding. Alright, grab the whole mass of the shoulder, push that in. Now I'm going to grab split face tool and split all the way around the base of the shoulder. I'm basically setting up the geometry area for where I'm going to extrude out the biceps. I might just move around some points, round out the shape, looking like they're out of place a little. Now grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Actually, I'm only going to grab 6 faces here. Extrude those out. Scale them in a little bit. And round out the forms. Grab this edge, pull it up a bit. And at the base, pull it down. And underside, push it back. So the overall shape of the biceps is rounding out. It looks like it's part of the arm rather than just an extrude. Alright, now I'm going to move around some points. I want to do 2 more edge loops through the biceps, just to add more geometry. I'm going to do that all along the arm now. I'm going to grab these 2 edges, 1, 2, do edge loop split through them. Also going to do that throughout the forearm, just to add more geometry the same way we did to the leg, edge loop split there, so that we can more approximate the shape of the arm before we start extruding out the muscle masses. I'm going to do another edge loop here, and where I've split it, 2 more edge loops. Now I'm going to round out the forms real quick. I'm going to need 1 more at the elbow area here. Edge loop there. Alright, switch to face mode, go towards the back. I'm going to select 5 faces to extrude out for the elbow and triceps tendon. I'm going to start 2 down from the shoulder area, so extrude that out. Switch to scale, scale it together, start rounding out the form. Now it's important to know that usually when I do an extrude, I spin both ends in order to blend it back into the mesh, but this time I'm going to leave the top side the way it is. I'm going to spin the face on the bottom side down, round that back into the mesh. But on the top side I'm going to leave it the way it is because we want that rounded shape for the triceps tendon. Now I'm going to grab these edges, push them forward, and set up where I'm going to extrude out the lateral aspect of the triceps. Extrude that out, push it up and out, and now round out those forms. Now for the triceps, on both the top and bottom side, we're going to grab the base of them and spin the 2 faces inwards towards the mass of the elbow area. We want it to flow back in underneath the elbow. Alright, grab those 2 faces at the base now. Oops, these 2. Spin it down towards the elbow area and just round out the forms. Alright. Next I'm going to select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and probably 7. This is going to be the extrude for the long head of the triceps and also the medial head altogether. Extrude that out, scale it in. Round out the forms by grabbing these edges and pushing them back. Grab the edges here and pull them down. A little too flat there, round it out that way. Now grab the 2 faces here and spin these 2 also inward towards the elbow. Grab these points, smooth things out a little. Grab that edge, pull it down. Always go back to your reference. I know it's hard, but that's okay. Especially since our arms are turned up. Alright. Let's Let's rotate around, zoom in here. We're going to work on the deltoids now. We're going to make all three masses of the deltoids, extrude them out from the shoulder. I'm going to grab the anterior deltoid first, 6 faces, extrude them out, scale it in, push it forward. Now I'm going to round out those shapes. Next, I'm going to grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 faces, scale them together, extrude them together, push it up and forward. Next, the posterior deltoid, 6 faces, extrude that, scale it in, and push it back. Alright, now where they're connecting with the triceps and biceps at little sharp angles, I want to spin faces there so it's not as sharp as it looks right now. Because if we smooth right now, I'm going to get a really harsh crease there. So I'm going to grab these 2 faces, zoom in here so you can see, spin them forward, same with the ones right in front of it, and delete the edge in between. Move over to round these faces out and do the same thing with the biceps here where they're connecting. Select these 2 faces, oops, these 2, spin them forward and outward, move that in. Same thing on the triceps part, select those 2 faces and spin those. Alright, got those, move around some points here. Triceps are looking a little flat. Grab these points, pull them down. Alright. Let's fix some problem area here where the arm is inserting with the shoulder area. Spin these 2 faces. Okay. And then the ones right next to them, those 2. And that way. So now we have a nice flow going all the way down the arm from the lats. And we'll define the back of the shoulder a little later. There we go. Now let's spin to the front real quick. Zoom in on the bicep and the deltoid area. What we want to spin now is, we're going to spin those 2 faces, get rid of the edges in between. Now the latissimus dorsi is in the right place, but the pectoralis major needs to be spun right there. We want the pecs to insert between the deltoids and the biceps, not behind the biceps. So I'm going to spin these 2 faces next. Line it up a little better. There we go. Now let's move around some points. A little flat there on the bottom part of the pecs. Round that out. And push that edge forward. Okay, that's looking a little better. Last muscle we're going to do, push some points here. It's going to be coracobrachialis, which is between the biceps and triceps on the underside of your arm. Select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 faces right there, and extrude that out. Scale it in a little, and rotates because it went off alignment there. And now just shape it. Spin the 2 faces on the inside side, underneath your armpit, backwards so it doesn't create a bad seam there. And just round out the form now. We're going to leave the bottom side for when we start doing the forearm and lower arm. And move around some points, flatten it out. Next we can move on to the lower arm.